Hey, everybody, welcome. My name is Hannah Morgan. I am the Career Sherpa, and today is Monday, and this is Job Search Live. It's January 18th. I cannot believe we're already in halfway through the month, more than halfway through the month. Time's flying. If you are here, I would love to hear from you. Put in the chat that you're here. It'd be great to see you. And what I'm going to be doing, and I already put in there the link to this week's Summary Sunday, so if you haven't read it yet, you can follow along. Um, we've got a lot going on, and hi, Nigel, nice to see you. Let me just dive full in and say that there are always a lot of different pieces and things that you have to be doing in job search. And one of the things that I think can be challenging is keeping all those balls in the air. So let me give you an example of what some of those balls are. You've got the jobs that you're going to be applying for. You've got the people that you're going to be reaching out to. They're the jobs that you're following up on. They're the people that you are following up with. They're the new people that you are being referred to and reaching out to. There are the LinkedIn articles that you're reading and the conversations that you're joining on LinkedIn and maybe even other social media channels. What else? Either preparing for the interview, the redrafting of your resume, the updating of your cover letter and targeting that for the job that you are applying for. Oh my gosh, I think there are even more. So what am I missing? Tell me what what parts of the job search are you juggling right now, and what else are you missing? But that's a lot of what we've got going on. And I hope that some of today's articles or yesterday's articles help you manage some of those pieces better. So that is what we're going to be talking about today. The first article that I included in this week's Summary Sunday was an article written by LinkedIn. Based on their analysis and research, they identified jobs on the rise. And so some of those jobs include e-commerce, loan and mortgage experts, healthcare supporting staff, business development and sales professionals, workplace diversity experts, digital marketing professionals, nurses, education professionals, because we know so many of these schools are having a hard time getting their curriculum online and making that happen. Digital content creators, those are writers, people that write articles and help content for businesses, professional and personal coaches, specialized engineers, mental health specialists, user experience professionals. So if you have any background in UX design, data scientist specialists, artificial intelligence practitioners, those were the top 15 occupations in demand. And so if you go to that article, not only will you see a highlight of what the job titles are, because let's just say artificial intelligence practitioners, that's the last one that I'm looking for. So that is sort of the overarching occupation. But when you dive into that, you will see jobs posted for machine learning engineer, artificial intelligence specialist, machine learning researcher. Those are just some of the different job titles, and there are probably even more. So you can say that you're an artificial intelligence practitioner, but it's even more important for you to dive in and talk about the specific and list some of the job titles that you also are targeting. This article on LinkedIn will list the skills, it will list the top locations hiring at the education level and the salary range, and whether or not the remote job availability is high, medium, or low. It also will show you open jobs, listing those job titles that are available right this very minute, and then relevant courses. So if you don't have all the skills that they are requiring, that the job requires, there's an opportunity for you to look at the courses on LinkedIn and develop some of those skills. So they do that for each one of the jobs, and I think that that's really good. It gives you a very good overview of the different skills and jobs that are being required right now in this economy, and probably moving forward for the next year, that you could be looking at or at least developing your skill set for. So I find that very helpful. Andrew Seaman published that on LinkedIn. He gathered that data and made that happen. So good stuff. If you are just joining me now, I see Nigel is here, but it would be great to know who else is here with me. So please make sure that you say hi. And if you had a favorite article in this week's Summary Sunday, let me know what that was and why. The next article was 5 tips for finding and landing a new job in 2021, according to the Glassdoor CEO. I shared this for a couple of reasons. One, it did well. But number two, I have been saying these things for the past 5 years. So this to me is nothing new, but for many of you, it may be new. So if you haven't heard me say any of these 5 things before, and you are just trying to say, okay, what am I missing in my job search? Please go read the 5 tips for finding and landing a new job in 2021, because it's all there. The next article that I shared, again, more information to help you get better at this: 15 free courses helping professionals land top jobs. These are 15 courses that are available on LinkedIn Learning that are free for at least the next till the end of the month. It may be free for longer, but there are courses by some of the people that I really respect, like Jenny Foss, who gives some training, offers one of her courses on interviewing for free. Please, please, please. These are not courses that are more broad to help you with your career, but these are courses that are designed specifically to help you with your job search. And so I hope you find those helpful. The next article was Top Job Search Articles of 2020 by my friend Jacob Scher on his website JobMob. Jacob reached out to, oh gosh, it must have been at least 30 or 40, maybe even 50 of the top job search experts. And he asked each one of them to share the article that did the best in the course of 2020, 2019, 2020. So all of those articles are compiled in one easy to read website. So if you haven't bookmarked that yet, I highly recommend that you do that. The topics run the gamut, everything from top careers to interviewing advice and LinkedIn profile advice and interviewing advice and everything and anything in between. So please, if you are struggling with job search and you're trying to find help on how to write a cover letter or whatever it might be, how to write your resume, go consult the top job search articles in 2020 first before you go Googling and find some random bit of advice, because these people absolutely are highly well respected. They know what they're talking about, and I think that you will find their information helpful. Hey, Matt from Ohio, good to see you. Julie, good to see you. Yes, and so Nigel says that there was a good article on cover letters, so absolutely. That was by uh, Robin Ryan on Forbes, so please absolutely go find that. That was a good one. We're going to talk about that in a sec. We are all now sort of comfortable, more comfortable, not all, many of us are more comfortable with remote work. And so Flex Jobs, who's well known for hosting remote and flexible work opportunities, posted the top 100 companies to watch for remote jobs in 2021. They're looking at the data and saying, okay, these companies are positioned to be posting more job opportunities, more good job opportunities in the upcoming year. Probably based on how many jobs they were posting in the last month of 2020, but you never know for sure. Could be some survey stuff. So if you have been thinking, gosh, you know what, I really like this remote work and there's a high probability that my employer is not going to let me work remotely, or I'm still looking for work and I want to work remotely, please go check out these top 100 companies and then go to that company website and look at the jobs that they have posted to see what they've got available. So remote work is not going away. There are companies, I'm sure, that want it to go away, but many companies have found that the employees that they have working are actually performing better than they did pre-pandemic. Productivity is higher. There is at least one huge problem with remote work, is that it is not available and accessible to all. So from a diversity standpoint, if you live in the outskirts of North Dakota and you don't have access to reliable broadband or internet service, you're still not able to do remote work, no matter how talented you are, because you just don't have regular, consistent, reliable access to the internet. If you are a waitress or a mechanic or someone that provides a physical service, those jobs are not going to be available online. And so we tend to see that there are people who really would benefit from being able to go back to work online or remotely, but given the nature of the work they do, or where they're geographically located, or they may not even have a computer. So there are some problems with remote work, and I'm hoping that as we progress and more companies embrace this, that we will find ways to overcome it. But if you are interested in the top 100 companies that post and that will have remote jobs in 2021, please go check that out, because I think that you will get some good information that will help you continue to look for jobs. I had somebody tell me the other day, or ask me the other day, who are the companies who are reliable in hiring remotely? And I said, well, you can subscribe to Flex Jobs, which charges a fee to have access to the jobs that they pre-screen and vet clients and companies, so that you're not getting those scammy work from home. But here you have a list of many of those top 100 companies already pre-vetted for you. So use that. As you mentioned earlier, Matt, I think it was Matt, there is an article that Robin Ryan put together with an example of a cover letter and how to write a good one. There's been some data recently, going back the end of middle of 2020, maybe early 2020, that was saying more and more employers are relying on that cover letter as a differentiator between candidates. So they might find 3 or 4 candidates they like. Before they pick up the phone and call them, they're reviewing the cover letter. So it is not enough just to use a standard template boilerplate cover letter that says, these are my qualifications, consider me for this job, and reach out if you're interested. You have to go a step further, explain why you are interested in that job and why you want to work for that company, which requires that you know something about that company. 3 or 4 of the most important qualifications that you have for that job that they've listed, like specifically for that job, not just, I've got great communication skills and good time management skills and I'm a hard worker. Those are not things that should go in the cover letter. And then state in their cover letter that you are very interested in the job and you'll be following up in 2 weeks. Follow up in 2 weeks. Okay, so there we go. So that was the Robin Ryan. So please go read Robin Ryan's article on Forbes about what a cover letter really is going to look like in today's day and age to help set you apart. Here is the thing that I will tell you. I run into this, and I don't know if you're running into this, but Forbes has changed their format so that if you try and visit their site more than a couple of times to read articles, they want you to subscribe. And so after 2 weeks, after the first week, actually, I was already locked out. So I'll have to wait a whole nother week a month before I have access to Forbes again when they reset the calendar. But I do want to let you know that that might happen to you too. So just be aware. The next article, oh, please, please, please read this one. I really, really liked it because I was shaking my head the whole time in agreement. It's called You Should Plan on Switching Jobs Every 3 Years for the Rest of Your Life, and that's by Fast Company. If you think, oh my gosh, that sounds so tiring, I don't want to switch jobs every 3 years, go read why you should think about changing that mindset. In the olden days, we didn't need to do that 5 years ago. But in today's workforce, where pays are stagnant or they're notoriously stagnant, your best chance of making more money is to move to a new job in a new company. Now, that's not the only reason they talk about. They say that by changing jobs every 3 years, you're learning new skills because you go to work for a new company, and that new company is using new software, and they have new systems and processes. And that act of learning new things, you add that to your portfolio, and that, in fact, makes you more valuable to another future employer. It also proves that you have the ability to transition and adjust to new jobs, and it doesn't become as overwhelming for you to learn a new role if you're switching jobs every 3 years. You sort of get used to, okay, there's a learning curve and I know how to do this. So that was a great article on why you should change jobs every 3 years. The next article was more from a career standpoint, and I think that it's called "How to Catalog Your Accomplishments," and it talks about why and how you should keep track on an ongoing basis of all of the accomplishments that you've had in your work life. And if you start making that part of your January, New Year, New You habit, then it is something that is easier to maintain. It's also one of the most tracking your accomplishments will also make you a better interviewer when it comes to job searching. It will also make it that much easier to write a resume when you are going back and having to update your resume. So how to catalog your accomplishments is important. There's a quote from Mr. Rogers that says, it was in a story that he told, and he said when he was scared, something was happening and he was scared, his mom would say, look for the helpers during times of trouble. Bad things happen. When bad things are happening, you can always count on there being helpers. And so I find that a really great perspective to have right now when we're going through still some drama and trauma in our country and in our lives personally. Look for the helpers. Train your brain to look for those people that are doing good and that are making positive changes. So this article that was on Huffington Post was written a few years ago, but I came across it because I was looking for that Mr. Rogers quote on look for the helpers. And it was really important to understand why that still makes sense today, where when we are still looking for helpers, we will always should be looking for helpers in times of crisis and bad things. I had, before I go into the mentions where else my work was featured over the past couple of weeks, does anyone have any questions they want to ask? If you do, please type them in the question box. I'd love to hear them. What questions do you have? What challenges are you facing in your job search? And while you're typing those or thinking about what question you have, I'm going to talk about some of the places where I was mentioned. Your Career GPS, shout out to Brad Minton. Thank you, Brad, for inviting me to be on your podcast. His podcast is specifically geared towards people who are early in their career, new college graduates. And so I talked about, and he was there to help me, we talked about what new college graduates need to know about their online visibility and how to use social media to expand their visibility and to make connections with new people in their field and their expertise. So I talk about that as a strategy. I don't dive deep into, okay, on Twitter, this is what you do, but I talk about how all those social media platforms are a great place for you to network and meet new people, no matter if you're early in your career or mid-career or even more senior in your career. I have found and continue to find Twitter to be a very valuable source of information. And by default, because Twitter has always been a very open platform, I find the people that are posting stuff there tend to be more responsive, tend to be more open, tend to engage more versus LinkedIn, when oftentimes you'll leave a comment on somebody's post and they won't ever get back to you. So I find that Twitter is a much better platform for engagement than LinkedIn, but that's been my experience because I've been on Twitter for longer and I actually have a good following and a good set of people that I know there. So that might be part of it too. Does anyone have any more questions? Bob McIntosh wrote an article, well, asked several of his colleagues, friends to to submit their ideas on what we do strategically to create and share content on LinkedIn. So his article, five successful how five successful LinkedIn users strategically create content to share on LinkedIn. It was me and Anna, I think, maybe Austin Belcock, Virginia Franco, maybe Sarah Johnston. I think those are the people. I didn't open the article recently, so I don't remember. But we all share, okay, this is our logic when we go to post something on LinkedIn. And remember, our reason for posting on LinkedIn is to get people that we're trying to target as clients and customers to be in contact with us. So we're answering their problems and concerns. We talk about that each one of us takes sort of a little bit of a different angle about how we go about deciding what we're going to post on LinkedIn and how we go about doing that. So if you are one of those job seekers that says, oh, I don't know, I don't know what to post on LinkedIn, then this could be a really helpful article for you to guide you in figuring out not only what you should post, but how you want to think about writing your post so that it will get more engagement. And then there were a couple of articles. There was at least virtual networking advice you can actually use. I asked 30 of my colleagues to share with me their top tip for networking online, and they didn't disappoint. It was a great article, all kinds of different things from who are the best people, how do you reach out, what do you say, where do you do it, all of those great things. So that was the virtual networking advice you can actually use. It was a couple of weeks ago on my blog post. So are there any questions, thoughts about this week's Summary Sunday that you want to ask or talk about? I'm not seeing any new comments, and so I'm wondering if it died or whether something happened. Can maybe Nigel, maybe you can just put it, because I know you're here or you were here, can you put in a chat so I can see? It's good to see you, Matt. Okay. Thanks for being here. Okay. Good. Thanks, Matt, for letting me know. So if there's not anything else that you need to know about, hey, Nigel, thank you for letting me know. I really appreciate that. Oh, yay, they're still here. I try and keep this short and spiffy. If you have any requests or things that you want answered or a topic that you'd like to see me write about or some burning question you have about job search, please leave it in the comment and I'll come back and look at it and write about it in the future. So step outside of that box, Matt. I don't want job titles to put you in a box. There are probably easily 50 different job titles that you could be looking at. And I really want you to think about how you could tangentially use those skills that you love using to do a different job, expand that reach. Or the other thing that you could do is create that list of target companies, identify a company that you have always wanted to work for, and go on LinkedIn and see the employees who work there and see what kind of job titles they have. You're doing, you're sleuthing, stalking, but you're looking to see what kind of job titles they have. Maybe there's a relevant or tangentially related job title that you could pursue that you may not have thought of before. So that's step one. Get out of your box. Don't put yourself in that box. Don't let people put you in the box. You can do this. Thank you, Julie, for being here. It was great having you. Hey, everybody, make it a great week. Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Let's try and spread some goodness. And remember, only love can drive out hate. Let's love more. Let's be more hopeful, and it's going to be a good year. Make it a great year. You've got this. I know you're going to go get a job, so go make it happen. Have a good week.